Stronghold Charlie is ours. S7 Sniper inbound.
Your team scored.
Hello my guys, Big Titty Gamer Bro here. Today I want to talk about Halo. I'm a huge Halo fan. My first Halo was Halo 3 and ever since the franchise has simply been near and dear to my heart. I was only 8 years old when Halo 3 came out, so I was just straight up too young to play the previous two, but I loved the game so much that I went and watched videos and read the wiki pages exploring the lore and the background of all those games. It was one of those games that I first had that obsession with. You know, the type of obsession where you'd be watching random YouTube videos at 1 AM on a school night while you're hiding your phone or tablet from your parents and trying to act like you're asleep. That was how addicted I was to this series and the world around it. The series was practically part of my childhood. I remember clocking in so many hours into Halo Reach that they legitimately suspended my account for a bit since I earned too many credits one night, and they automatically did this to prevent any sort of supposed hacking. At the time, I thought it was bullshit and I was really tight the rest of the night, but looking back, it's one of my fondest memories of that game and Halo as a whole. That experience was pretty much the pinnacle of Halo for me. When I got to play Halo 4 for the first time, it was mechanically more or less the same game, but you could just feel the difference. The multiplayer didn't feel the same anymore, and I had no idea what they were doing with the story. It felt like the start of Halo's downfall, but I hadn't realized it just yet. I think that realization really came into fruition with the disaster that was Halo 5. I thought the trailers and concept art actually looked kind of cool. I think Locke and his team looked pretty badass, and I was excited to see what they would do with them. Then I realized you barely got to play as Chief throughout the entire game, and you just played as them. And, you know, we've played in games before where you're not playing as Chief, Halo 3 ODST for example. That game was amazing. The mood, it was pretty much an entire different game, like an entire different beast. And the fact remained, people were still playing the multiplayer and the story still made sense, and that was just absent from Halo 5. And so I skipped out on Halo 5 entirely, and as we all know, the game received pretty mediocre reviews overall. We thought Halo Infinite was going to bring Halo back to its height, which honestly seemed entirely possible for a couple months. That sweet time between the demo and the official release of Halo Infinite's multiplayer was like pure hype for the average Halo fan. The demo was a positive experience to most people overall. It shitted all over the Call of Duty Vanguard and Battlefield 2042 demos, so we were all excited as hell. Halo finally seemed like it was coming back, and then we realized how limited the customization was, how predatory the marketing scheme was, and just how little the 343 team had actually thought about post-launch planning. They simply started lacking on content, or it took ages to fix the bugs and melee issues with the game. They wouldn't let you choose what freaking mode you wanted to play for a solid couple of months. And then they charged $20 just to have the color blue on your armor.
Now we have to spend $10 fucking dollars for fucking blue? For fucking blue! Again! Not only that, but $10 for fucking blue across all of the different types of armor cores, since one fucking blue doesn't apply to another fucking armor, so instead you're buying fucking blue for each of your motherfucking armors?
Fans were hoping for a fix to this game for a while, myself included. Many people especially were looking forward to the Xbox annual showcase that just happened this last week. Honestly, I just wanted to see what update they would have regarding Halo. It's one of their most famous IPs, and it's a live service game. It should be receiving some love in the show. It's their biggest show after all. But nope, pretty much all we got was Halo stuff, but for other games. Yeah, that's right. They announced that the Pelican from Halo would be playable in Microsoft's Flight Simulator, and that there would be a Halo-themed Spartan Showdown event in Fall Guys. That's it. That's it. Now granted, the Pelican in Microsoft Flight Sim is actually really cool. You can totally check out all the interior modules. It has its own special flight and hovering capabilities, and it looks really sick overall. I'm actually very happy with the job that they did with it. That being said though, the showcase overall was definitely a letdown for anybody looking forward to anything new from Halo Infinite. So what's Infinite like as of right now? The most recent major update was the Season 2 update. This brought with it a new battle pass, which by the way is still full of the same boring cosmetic items and armor cores we're used to. Freaking shoulder pads and gun charms. In addition to the battle pass, they added 2 new maps, Catalyst and Breaker. I went ahead and played these maps, and they're actually pretty good. That doesn't change the fact, however, though, that these are the only new pieces of content to come out almost half a year after the initial launch. I think most of the player base is also disappointed by this, given the fact that the active player count across platforms has dropped significantly. Take a look at some of these Steam player charts. I put this game up against some games I routinely play or some games of the same type. Some of these games are older than Halo Infinite, some of them don't have as much of a brand name behind them, but all of them are beating Infinite's player count. I understand that these games aren't all the same genre or same type or generally the straight up best comparison, but I just wanted to show that this game has went through such a decrease in player count. I mean, it's down to just 2.26%. 2.2% of its peak player count. I know most multiplayer games go down like 50 to 75% from its peak, but almost 97% down? 97%? Are you kidding me? It's got a lower player count than Battlefield 2042. Battlefield freaking 2042. The same game that was constantly getting refunded on Steam because it was literally too broken to play.
I need help here!
How do you have a franchise as legendary as Halo drop to such a new low? So now let's get down to the actual analysis of the situation. Let's start with the facts first. First off, Halo is a legendary franchise and was at one point a system seller. Microsoft used to market the hell out of this franchise to sell their consoles. They still use this game for marketing, but it hasn't been a system seller in a while. Secondly, it was sold from its original developers, Bungie, to 343 Industries quite a couple years ago. 343 has had multiple chances to craft a Halo game worthy of its name, but has failed to do so after numerous attempts. At Xbox's largest annual showcase, there was practically zero mention of it outside of its content within other games. In addition to all this, 343 does not seem to be growing or expanding at the moment. I've taken a look into their LinkedIn and job portals and they seem to be slowing down any sort of hiring. 343 is essentially working with the same team and will not be bringing in anybody for fixes or additional support. So it's clear at this point that Microsoft doesn't seem to be overly concerned with the state of Halo Infinite. If that was the case, they probably would have stepped in a long time ago. Honestly, they'll probably be busy with marketing and operations for their newest acquisitions. The star of the showcase was Starfield, and we all know how much focus they're putting on that. On top of that, they haven't even revealed anything from their literal record-breaking acquisition of Activision Blizzard last year, which for sure has some major projects coming down the pipeline. Aside from the fact that Microsoft doesn't care as much, apparently neither do 343. There's still no roadmap with any of the updates or features that are still missing. And these aren't small features, by the way. These are features that were typically integral to the other Halo games. Co-op campaign is still in a closed testing phase. Forge was delayed from Season 2 to we are assuming, aka we have no confirmation, all the way up to Season 3. Speaking of Season 3, it's all the way in November. That means we'll have to spend this time frame of May to November, another 6 months, without any further content upgrades. In addition to this, the 343 team's response to any bugs or bug request fixes only seem to be some stupid ass emojis. It's become a meme in the Halo subreddit at this point. Every other response is a fist or clapping emoji. So, knowing all this, I don't think the future is very bright for this game. The player base has shrunk so much, not even because of the lack of content or the bugginess, but because the game just does not feel like the old Halo. I remember loading into Halo Reach, and this was back in the magical time period of open lobbies and you could see the profile and gamer tag of every person in the lobby, friend or foe. You also got to check out all the sick ass armor combos and special effects that each of these players unlocked. It was legitimately cool. Players earned those rewards and you accordingly set goals for yourself so you could get those cool items and unlocks too. It's essentially what drove the progression system and made leveling up something to actually look forward to and be proud of. Now it's all just a monetization scheme. Whenever I look at somebody with cool armor in Infinite, I don't think like, oh man, this dude must have grinded and put in so many hours into that game. Like, that's cool, I could do that too. I just think, damn, how much money did this dude spend on this game? You can't unlock all the armors or any of the armors outside of the free shitty ones in the battle pass without paying massive amounts of money. And even when you have those armors unlocked, you need to pay additional money to choose colors for that corresponding armor core. Add on to that most of the free weekly or event-based rewards you gotta grind for are unexciting items like vehicle skins or weapon charms, and it just takes away from the experience. There's nothing to grind for, nothing to set goals for. That's an integral part of any online multiplayer game, let alone Halo. To make matters worse, these aren't things that can be fixed quickly. This predatory monetization scheme and progression scam are baked into the game. These are essentially core concepts for the game to operate on. It's not something you can just fix with a quick update. The 343 team would have to change the way the entire game and marketplace works. It would be nothing short of a rework from the ground up, to be honest. And frankly, I just don't see them doing that. First off, they don't seem driven to make the game any better for the sake of the player experience. They took months just to make a change that allowed players to select what game mode they wanted to play. Secondly, what reason do they have to do so? They're still profiting a shit ton from all these microtransactions. Honestly, they could throw on as many maps or free events as they'd like, but if the game at its core is deprived of the same Halo experience we had all those years ago with 3 and Reach and ODST, 2 and even before that, I don't think anything is going to fix it. So yeah, it's a soulless game with a lack of content and a hyper-aggressive monetization system. There's no forge, no playable elites, a shitty progression system. Basically, it's lacking all the things that makes Halo, Halo. That doesn't mean you can't have fun with it. I'm sure some of you might have differing opinions and are actually having a solid time with the game. If that's the case, then great for you. I'm genuinely happy for you. However, I think I speak for most of the fandom when I say that's simply not the case for the rest of us. I don't see it ever getting fixed, let alone getting to the ranks of where Halo Reach or 3 or any of the previous games were. I think it's probably going to remain a title that Xbox uses a lot of its major marketing towards, but it won't see many use cases besides that. I'm sad to say it, but I think Halo's time as one of the best franchises to play has simply stopped. It probably stopped a while ago, but this game made it clearer than ever. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Let me know what your thoughts are on the situation. Also, I'm planning on creating more discussion-based videos like this one to kind of diversify the stuff I put on my channel. I'm thinking I'll have 4 major video types. Videos for game reviews like my first 2 uploads, videos for game discussions like this one, videos for games I'm looking forward to or keeping an eye on, and any immediate video game news that pops up. If that's the type of content you want to see, please feel free to like and subscribe for more. Thanks, and see you next time.